We are finally here in the off season of season 1 here in the MTSU Dynasty. And it was a pretty good first season for us. We went 11-3 on the year, and we got the school's first ever Conference USA championship. But this offseason is basically going to be about maintaining what we already have and continuing to build on it. As you can see from the staff moves, we have Steve Sarkisian going from Texas over to Michigan, so very interesting move there. And then Memphis loses Ryan Silverfield to Maryland, so they already lost Mike Norvell years ago, and now Silverfield leaves. Lance Leopold goes from Kansas to Washington, Chuck Martin from Miami of Ohio to Cincy. Jason Candle goes over to Rutgers after Greg Schiano leaves for Syracuse. And those are just a few of the moves that happened here in the offseason. I actually did a whole stream where we went through the offseason. It was a good 4-hour stream. You can go check that out over on Twitch. And I'll also put up the YouTube VOD right after I put up this video. As we expected, we ended up having a lot of people who are very key players want to transfer. So just get your popcorn ready. You're going to see who ends up leaving. As you see, Ricky Hunt Jr., Jakail Middlebrook, Anthony Bynum, and Shakai Woods are some of the big ones that are trying to leave. Cameron Lacey, who is probably going to be the number one receiver on the team, also wanted to leave. And then we have Corey Smith. Roman Galliano, who ended up being the starting quarterback for most of the season, also wants to leave. So I did want to bring back Galliano to have a shot at competing for the starting quarterback spot with Nicholas Vadiotto being gone due to him graduating, but he decided that he didn't want to come back. So that's tough, but he's not irreplaceable. At running back, I did try to bring back Ricky Hunt Jr., who had a great season, but he also decided that he wants to leave. Then I decided to go after Jakail Middlebrook, and he decided to stay, so Jaden Cradle will be back, and Middlebrook will also be back. At receiver, I really like what Cameron Lacey could bring to this offense, but he decided he didn't want to come back, so that's unfortunate. He probably would have been our best receiver too. EJ Harris, our starting left guard last season, also wants to transfer due to pro potential. I mean, yeah, he has so much potential as a 76 overall. He decides he wants to leave as well. So I want to try to bring back Anthony Bynum, who is transferring because he wants to improve his pro potential, and very low chance, but he decides to stay. So we get one of our best pass rushers back. So that's pretty big for us. Shakai Woods also wants to leave because he wants to play for a championship contender, and he decides he doesn't want to come back to us after we try to persuade him. That's a tough loss right there. At a 79 overall, we're definitely going to miss him. With our last persuasion attempt, we're going to try to bring back Corey Smith, who has the chance to be the starter at middle linebacker this year, and he decides he wants to come back. We didn't have anybody get drafted, which isn't really a surprise because we didn't really have any high overall players. So now we go into recruiting as we're looking at a few guys that we're trying to lock up in offseason recruiting. Paris Walters is one of the big ones that we're looking at right now. We have a big lead on him, so I probably don't have to spend too many points to bring him back, or probably didn't, I should say. And Nathan Wilder, we're still in the midst of a battle with a lot of these people. We're finally just going to full scout him. And he has a lot of potential to grow from what he has right there. 86 speed, 87 acceleration, 81 catching. I'd like his route running to be better, but he has good hands, and that's something we could definitely use on this offense. Shakir Gillan is another guy that I'd like to bring onto the team, and he's somebody who's going to be a work in progress. He's a lurker archetype, so he's probably going to be more of a pass coverage guy. 71 zone, 64 man coverage could be better, and his 77 speed definitely isn't doing him any favors, but he's another guy who could be developmental. These are all 3-star guys. We didn't really go after any 4-stars at all, so it's what it's. We're going to go through the players we ended up signing in the offseason period. We got Shakir Gillan, who we're looking at. Paris Walters also decides to sign with us, so we're getting some good pickups at the linebacker position. We also end up picking up Nathan Wilder, who we've been looking at for a while, so some big-time pickups. There's a receiver to add on into the room. We also get Dalton Harmon out of Brentwood, Tennessee, another guy that we were looking at pretty much all regular season. Doug Root, another one who fits that mold. Now, a lot of these guys are athletes that I might end up playing at other positions. Dalton Algier, also technically an athlete, but we're going to play him on the offensive line. Maybe not center, but we'll see. We also pick up LaMarcus Angel out of Charlotte, North Carolina to shore up our secondary. We get Grant Hallworth. He's a transfer from Ball State, so he'll help out our offensive line. Max Redmond also comes over. He's a transfer from Florida State, so definitely a good pickup for me. Andre Lovett Jr. as well. The free safety coming over from Illinois, so we're definitely taking advantage of the transfer portal. Ryan Blackburn Gorman also comes over from Kentucky. So a lot of transfers get picked up in this offseason for us, including Taylor Powell, who's a transfer from Northern Illinois. So another big pickup for the secondary and Powell. And we also pick up Luke Montgomery, who was playing at Ohio State. So a big step down from him, but hey, it is what it is. A lot of these guys have kind of stepped down, if we're being completely honest, just like relatively speaking. It's not like Middle Tennessee State's like a big school or anything like that. And we get Sam Pendleton as well, coming over from the University of Tennessee, so he's not going to make too far of a trip. Andrew Paul transfers from Jacksonville State over to us, so we get a little steal inside the conference. And then Nikola Milovac, who was a lineman for USF, comes over to Middle Tennessee. Previously, he was at Kennesaw State as well, so he's got to bounce around, and hopefully he'll find a nice home over in Murfreesboro. Robert Sampson out of Vineland, New Jersey, also comes to Middle Tennessee, so we get a little help on the D-line. Then we have Collins Achiampong out of Bowling Green transferring over here. I have some familiarity with him from my Nuzlocke Dynasty that I do on Twitch and posted some videos over here. Mateo Guevara was going to transfer, and he actually entered the portal, but we end up bringing him back, so that's good. We also get Quaysheed Scott, or just Q Scott, coming over from Kentucky to play for Middle Tennessee. We get Malcolm Ziegler as well, coming over from UNC to come play in Tennessee. And then after that, we also pick up Marcellus Tate, so we do get our quarterback that will replace Spadiato and Galliano. He was more of a backup for USF last season, but hopefully he'll be the starter this year for us. Corey Bucky is another pickup for us. I believe he's just a freshman that we end up picking up, so that's a good pickup for us. Definitely somebody who's going to have to develop as a 2-star. And we get Tyler Shakir, another guy that we were looking at Mike linebacker. So some good pickups all around. Some misses we had Antoine Wall decide to go to UCLA over us. Not really quite sure why he picked them, but hey, best of luck to him. Chauncey Gooden also decides to go to Florida International over us, and we're going to have to see him a few times over the next 3 seasons, unless he decides to transfer again. So, he may have made the wrong choice. We'll have to see. And then Nair Domney ends up going to Oklahoma over Middle Tennessee, which I'm not really too surprised by. It's Oklahoma, So we end up having the 55th overall class, getting 32 of the 35 people we were going after, including 28 3-stars and 4 2-stars. Pretty good for our first season. Roman Galliano decided to go to Nebraska. Not quite sure what his prospects really are going to be there with them having Dylan Raiola as the starting quarterback, but hey, good luck to him, I guess. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know. Ricky Hunt Jr. decides to go to Oklahoma, which is hopefully where he spends the next couple of seasons. I'm not an Oklahoma fan or nothing like that, but hope he does well over there. Cameron Lacey hasn't signed anywhere, but it's looking like Ohio State and Indiana were a couple of schools he was looking at. Also Arkansas State and Tennessee, so we'll see how that goes for him. I found out pretty recently that even if a player doesn't commit to a school in the final stage on signing day, they'll end up getting placed on one of the schools that they were looking at. Quentin Butler hasn't been placed on a school yet, so he's one of those guys that fit that description. EJ Harris is another one of those guys that fit into that category. Surprisingly, so is Shakai Woods, but I'm thinking he'll probably end up going to Georgia. Marlon Robinson ends up going to Tulsa, so good luck to him over there. We did have a shot at possibly bringing him back, but in the end, I didn't really even pursue him. Felix Hickson ends up going to Virginia. I'm not really sure that's an improvement, but hey, do you, brother? And I am kicking myself because I could have gone after Brian Awesome because literally nobody offered him a scholarship. I don't know how that happened, but, missed opportunity. I probably should have just put him on my board to start the season, but it is what it is, as they say. So I ended up reorganizing all of the conferences. I was going to do a big storyline, but I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just let it fly. And you're going to see all these conferences are a lot more geographically aligned. This actually took me like a good half hour to an hour, mind you. But let me know in the comment section what you think of these conferences. And here's the Conference USA. We are in the same conference as Memphis, Missouri, and Vanderbilt now. They have joined the Conference USA. It's going to get real interesting. It's going to be a lot tougher in season number 2 to defend our title, especially with Missouri in our division, because we're going to have to play against them. I pretty much just added UConn to the MAC to make that change. The Mountain West is looking kind of stale now. And there's the Pac-12. A lot of the old schools are back now, as you can see, with the addition of some of the IRL new schools. The SEC, I added Clemson, Florida State, and I took out Arkansas and Vanderbilt, obviously, and Kentucky. And then the Sun Belt, they have Arkansas now. And now we look at the top 25, and obviously the Gators just won the national championship, so of course they're going to be number 1. Miami's number 2, Bama's 3, Notre Dame's 4, Clemson's 5. So a disgusting top 5, in my personal opinion. But then again, I'm an FSU fan, so what do I know? And we are not even receiving votes after going 11-3 last season. It's kind of tragic if we're being honest. Looking at the coaches poll, Florida is number 1, Clemson's number 2, Miami's number 3. Like, this game is just trying to make me not play it anymore, basically. That's what I'm being told by that being a thing. I don't know if these are conference predictions, but they have Memphis number 1, FIU number 2, and us number 3, if that's the case. I don't think it's actual predictions, because Missouri should definitely be a lot higher than this. But, And then our top 5 in the Heisman Watch, we have Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, Sam Leavitt, Arch Manning, and Isaac Brown. So a pretty solid top 5 there. All juniors, so we'll see if they end up being finalists or not. But it's going to be very interesting going into the next season as we look at the preseason first team All-Americans. We do not have a single player on this list, which isn't too much of a surprise, but would have been nice, Would have been nice to have a few guys from last season be All-Americans in the preseason, but we just got to get on the field and play. And we have no second teamers either, so pretty disappointing. The first team all Conference USA is mainly going to be Missouri players because Missouri is the highest rated team in the conference now. They might not be much in the SEC, but they're kind of a big deal over here because they're the best team. They're a big fish in a small pond, if we're being completely honest. We're really not even at their level yet, so it's going to be interesting when we have to play them, and we will have to play them. So the starting depth chart, as you're going to see, Marcellus Tate is going to be the starting quarterback with Pierre Goss backing him up, and then Stanley Anderson Lofton, the only returning quarterback on the roster, will be QB number 3. He'll have to earn his spot on the team, pretty much, just like everybody else. We'll earn a starting spot, you know what I mean. Jaquel Middlebrook's going to be the starting running back. Jaden Cradle will definitely get some carries as well. Just his wear and tear is really low, so I got to be careful with him. Andrew Paul will be 3rd, and Taekwon Yates will be number 4. Dustin Peters is still the starting fullback, but we don't really use him all that much, so he's kind of just the starting fullback in name, and that's about it. But maybe we'll get some use out of him. You never know. We're very thin at wide receiver, as you can see. We only have 5 receivers on the roster. AJ Jones, Kason Stokes, and Tyree Patterson will be our main 3. Sapp and Keys will be 4 and 5. Not going to redshirt those guys. And then Brandenburg, who's going to be playing tight end for us, will be receiver number 6 if we need it. We'll also use some other guys if we absolutely need to, but we're definitely going to be looking at wide receiver in next year's recruiting and in season 2's recruiting as a whole. Looking at tight end, Tavion Galloway will be the starting tight end this year, with Brandenburg, the true freshman, being the backup, and Evan Potiker being tight end number 3. At left tackle, we do have Milivoje there, but we're going to play around with this. We're not really going to have our O-line set until the first game of this season, but just taking a look at some of the guys right here. You know, we're still kind of working on building up the offensive line as a whole. Starting left edge is going to be Anthony Bonham once again, with Aiden Butts being the main backup to both him and Achiampong. Tyon Robinson's going to get some playing time as well. We only have 4 total edge rushers on this team, so, well, at least that aren't redshirted. We're going to sit Mustard and Sauer for this first season and let them develop behind the guys that we have currently, because we have a pretty good rotation. You know, Bonham and Achiampong are good, and then Butts and Robinson, pretty good rotational pass rushers. They're not the best players in the world, but they could definitely contribute if we need them to come off the bench for any reason. And there you have Achiampong starting at right edge with Butts and Robinson backing him up. At D tackle, we have a brand new group, only 3 of them, however. And you look at the linebacking core. We're going through this a little quickly, as you can see. We're very thin at linebacker. We're thin in the front 7 as a whole. Kind of disappointing that I didn't really pick up more players at the position, but hey, it is what it is. Muaz Bayard will be starting on this defense. And then we have Quaishi Scott, we have Farrell and Redmond as our top 3 corners. Pettis is back as well. Lovett will be starting at free safety. Ziegler is starting at strong safety. Jacob Taylor is going to be our kicker, and Ashton Logan is our punter. So now we're going to look at our schedule for Season 2 of this Dynasty. And we don't have any tough out-of-conference games, mainly because we have to play against Missouri and Memphis this year. So those games will be tough enough for us as we're continuing to develop as a team. But our out-of-conference schedule, we have FCS Southeast, which is going to be a tough one because those FCS schools seem to play us tougher in these games for some reason. We have Marshall as well. Then we play Kansas, and we also play Nevada out of conference. Then our in-conference schedule, we play at Delaware, we play at home against Jacksonville State, we play at Missouri, which is going to be absolute hell. Then we play against Memphis at home. Then we take on Missouri State on the road. We play at home against Sam Houston. We play at Western Kentucky for another chapter of 100 Miles of Hate. And we end the season with a home game against UTEP. That's going to do it for the off-season video of season number 1. I'm going to actually post the VOD and make it live once again for you guys to watch the full thing, just so you guys can get an idea of what we did in the off-season and get some ideas for how you want to run your off-seasons as well. And if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit the sub button if you're new as well, and turn your notifications on, and we'll get season number 2 started very shortly. I'll see you guys soon.